Welcome to Vintage Burn. This is Kev.
Marco.
And Doug.
And we're back. It's 2021, and we have been lazy as fuck. Obviously, we missed out in January. We apologize to you guys, but we were really just trying to figure out what do we do. This is season 3 for us, and I think we all feel lucky that we even made it this far.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, we came up with a good game plan. We're hoping to bring you guys some really good content this year. We have our reviews already lined up. We're going to even try to maybe get some t-shirts together. I'm in the process of looking at a site. It's funny, you guys. I had a prior endeavor that I was doing years ago involving like brewery stuff. And I tried to log in, and for whatever reason, I just can't get into the account. So I'm probably going to start one from scratch for us. But most likely, to all of you listening out there, we are going to try to put some shirts together. We'll make sure that they're quality. And, hopefully we have some people out there that are willing to buy some of the merch that we're going to put together. So that's something to look forward to for 2021. We are in the process of trying to get a couple interviews together in the metal and rock world with some artists. We'll see how that pans out. We had some luck last year with a couple artists. And, of course, it's really we reach out. Sometimes we get responses and we get things set up, and sometimes we can't. So we will see. Right now, the one I have in the pipeline, and I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, is the legendary Jim Dofka from the band Dofka in the 80s. You might know him with his work with the progressive metal band Pharaoh. He's working on their new record. He has a new Dofka record coming out. We just contacted each other the other day, and he is definitely interested. So he's probably going to be on the cast at some point this year when both of those records drop. So hopefully that kicks us off with, at least one metal artist. So, and man, I'd love to get like somebody from the movie world on, but that's been hard too. So we tried to get Katrina Bowman, but that didn't pan out. I told her to look at the podcast. We talked on Instagram really quick, and then I don't know. She probably saw the content and was like, "Fuck these guys."
I don't blame her.
So close. We were so close to Katrina.
So close.
Oh,
all right.
But yeah, so tonight we're kicking it off. It's February, and we're ready for summer. So we're going to do 1983's Sleepaway Camp.
Yes. All right. So 1983 Sleepaway Camp. And for the listeners out there, mostly Cousin Kev, we're changing the format a little bit. We're kind of going back to the old school way we used to do it, where we're just going to kind of keep it light, talk about fun facts, favorite scenes, opinions, and then everything in between, because that's just what we do. But I think this will go a little bit smoother, a little more easy on the ear listening-wise. But so, yes, 1983 Sleepaway Camp, ranking it at 6.3 on the IMDb scale, 3.5, oh, God damn it, $350K budget. It made about $11 million, so it made about 30 or so times what it cost. So it definitely wasn't a flop, but a lot of people, it's become a cult classic over the years for a few different reasons, which we'll get into. But, it right on the heels of, the early Friday the 13th and those. So let's start off with a little synopsis here. Angela Baker, a shy, traumatized young girl, is sent to summer camp with her cousin. Shortly after her arrival, everyone with sinister or less than honorable intentions gets hurt or gets their comeuppance. So that's kind of the basis. Starring Felissa Rose as Angela and Jonathan Tiersten as Ricky. And also, Jonathan Tiersten has a movie called Toilet Zombie Baby Strikes Back coming out in 2021. Make sure to see that, folks. Make sure that's the first one you see in the theater. I just thought
that sounds great.
It does. Like, the cover looks great. You always go through the actors. You're like, oh shit, this dude was in that dude was in that. Like, the black or African American cook in this, it was actually in The Sting.
Oh really? Yeah. He looked familiar, and I love The Sting. I've seen that movie multiple times. I didn't put it together, but that makes sense.
I didn't either, but I'm the same. I'm like, I know this guy somehow, but So written directed by Rob Hiltzik, who actually went to the camp that they filmed at. And he basically had his hands in all 4 of the films. Now, if you look on IMDb, there's like a mystery number 4 that never actually happened. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and then they made one in like 2008 where Felissa actually came back. So there's that mystery film.
Yeah, I think they got like 5 or 6 cast members back in that one.
Yeah, they got a good chunk, which I actually enjoy this franchise thoroughly. Have you guys really dived into like the other movies?
No.
Like the sequels?
I've only seen just 2. And I think I saw part of 3, but I've only ever seen 2. 1 and 2.
Do we really need to?
Well,
I think 2 is great.
2's great, yeah. Marco, bonus points if you know who sings the intro song to 2. Do you remember?
No, I have no idea.
It's an Anvil song, which I always thought that's kind of funny because, they, in the whole Anvil movie, like, we never got our stardom, we never got a chance. It's like, being in like a cult horror flick, in the 80s, how is that not, how did they not blow up then? Kind of just blows my mind.
I don't think the movie did so well.
No, but you think that like metal and horror has gone, kind of hand in hand. So you're thinking like the 80s and like the kind of the heyday. I think it was like 88 or 89. You think they would have had some like bigger stardom or a little more traction just from being in the movie.
I don't know. I just think they got forgotten, man. They got passed by. I mean, they were good like for a couple records, and then like everybody outdid them. I think that was the problem.
They kind of stagnated and they got passed by.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 albums are very influential, and then after that, I just think everybody who they influenced became better. So, I don't know. I don't think Anvil's the greatest band. Good live band, though. I love them live.
No, they are fun. And they definitely have some catchy songs and shit. But
so, I want to open up with just saying it starts with a boat accident. Father dies. Appears the daughter dies. Looks like the son kind of swims away. But this is where I just need to talk about the beginning of this movie because it fucking blew my mind when I watched it. And then it shows them later with an aunt, Ricky and Angela. And the aunt's a crazy overactor, but I think that's done intentionally. I packed you some snacks for the ride.
I think she's supposed to be nuts.
Goodness, no. Yeah. That wouldn't do it all, would it? No. Yeah.
It's like the mother from, or the grandmother from Flowers in the Attic,
Yeah, that's true. That's a good connection.
It definitely gives you...
Yeah, I agree with that, Kev.
Dude, does she look like the girl from Elf to you guys, like an older version?
Oh, my girl, Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah. She looks like an older, middle-aged version of Zoe. I don't know why that popped in my head when I was watching it.
Yeah.
Shout out to New Girl.
Definitely.
Everybody should watch that show.
But what I really want to get to is when the kids arrive at the camp. They're going to camp, right? She packs some snacks for camp. And they're getting off the bus, and it pans to the cook and the black fella, the assistant cook there. And the cook, the big white dude, says, "Hey, look at those young, fresh chickens. Where I come from, they call them baldies. Make your mouth water." Right? Then the black guy says, "They're too young to understand what you're talking about." And the cook responds with, "No such thing as being too young. You're just too old." And then, the black guy just laughs it off. It's got to be the cringiest scene I've ever, it's funny. I completely forgot that ever happened. And I've seen this movie multiple times. And I know there's the scene later in the pantry or whatnot, but, that shit just made me, sick. Nauseated me. It was just so bad. And the look on his face, man, it just,
Because he looks like a pedophile in real life, He just he's like the quintessential fucking pedophile looker. But in the 80s, that shit was kind of, I don't say it went under the radar, but shit like that happened all the time, and it kind of I don't want to say it's right or anything like that, but it just kind of wasn't as known as a thing. It wasn't as the spotlight was on. So that but then it's amazing. Well, not amazing, but it's great how she gets. Or someone gets revenge on him almost immediately, right after this.
Doug, pedophiles,
right, yeah, that's why
pedophiles in Hollywood, you use that in the past tense, that's not happening still.
Well, I'm saying just everywhere, but yeah especially in Hollywood.
Yeah. I know you're talking about on film, though. Yeah, things are a lot different. Like today, you can't get away with half the shit you put out. You think, like, again, I know it's old hat. We've gone to this 1,000 times, but like a movie like Blazing Saddles just would not be made today.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be made today. And I think a lot of those type of scenes, just you're not going to see anymore. Unless, obviously it's in like a more serious movie. You're just not going to see that. It's insane. It's just the way it came off was just really disturbing to me.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of half the point too. They want to kind of like creep you out. It's like, what kind of place is this that all these kids are going to? And it kind of just sets that fucked up tone.
Yeah, so I just want to walk through the beginning of this movie. I know we said we're going to do it different, but like I just like how this whole thing ends up because you meet Judy, who Ricky dated the summer before. She apparently grew tatas, and and her friends, don't really like Angela. They catch her staring at her and at Judy or whatever, and they start giving her shit, especially Meg, Judy and Meg. Oh, yeah. And then they're in the cafeteria eating, and big beefy guy asks if she hasn't eaten, or she hasn't eaten in 3 days or whatever. And then so he gets her in, he brings her into the kitchen to find her something to eat. He's like, oh, give her some ice cream, some nice nutrition. And then he leaves her with the cook, and he takes her into the walk-in, or the pantry, tells her he's got something for her, and starts unbuckling his pants. But luckily Ricky walks in, and then, he ends up punching the thing and fucking punching the box and tell Ricky, if you say anything, I'll kill you. But then the very next scene is he's cooking corn in this big, pot, huge pot. What do you fucking think of that, like 5-footer?
Easily. That thing would take 4 years to fucking boil. That is so much water.
and then I love, he goes in the back of the pantry, and then all of a sudden you see somebody sneaking around, like in, what is it, first person? First person?
Yep.
Yeah, first person view. And she hears him come out, which I'm assuming it's her, but you don't know at this point, but you figure it is. And he comes out and he's like, he opens the pot. He's, oh, nice, it's boiling. And he's standing on a chair because the pot's so fucking high. And then all of a sudden the chair gets pulled out from under him, and he loses, his balance or whatever. So he's hanging on the shelf, and she pulls the chair fully out, and then the pot comes with him. And it leads to one of the coolest things is the boiling water goes all over him. And then his face, with the blisters just popping up and stuff. It was so good, and he fucking deserved it, man. And I don't know if that guy actually ended up dying because he just gets taken away, still alive.
Yeah, they don't really.
Man, that dude, I hope he lived out for a while being punished.
Dude, and I love the cop, too. The cop's talking. He's like, wow. He's like, he must be on fire. Every inch of his body must be on fire. He just keeps, like, going into detail about how much pain he probably is in.
I think that was my favorite scene of the movie. I was going to mention that. I'm glad you brought it up, Marco, because it's my favorite scene. It's like the most justified kill.
I'm going to agree with you, Kev. I was going to say the same thing. It just, you're right, justified. That's the perfect way of putting it. Like swift justice.
Yeah, absolutely. Because some of them, like when we're going to get to it later or whatever, like the water balloon kill. The guy gets killed because he nailed her with a water balloon. And then, what I think's funny about...
Bring up all the kills. I mean, there's nothing we don't need to go in any order anymore. So, like, just name them all off. We got most justified kill is definitely that scene with the petty. So, what about the other kills, Marco? Name them all off, baby.
We'll go with it. Look, and I wanted to just say one more thing. When the cops are in and they're taking the body out, they really need to change the fly traps. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but all those fly traps have a million flies on them.
When Mel's talking to the black cook, like, there's 2 of them right next to their faces, and they're like, there's 2 of them, they're just fucking full of flies. Yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
So there's a softball scene, which is a lot of shit talking and gambling. We'll pass that. They just, we'll get him back. Ricky's team wins, and the older kids are like, we'll get him back. But then there's the dance scene where Angela's sitting there just by herself. And they're like, let's go get her to, like, I don't know if it was skinny dip or whatever. I forget what it was. But so the guys that were playing against Ricky's team, which Ricky's her cousin. I don't know if we explained that. Angela's cousin. They start making fun of her. So Ricky comes over, and he's like, leave her alone, whatever. And they start fighting. They start scrapping. So the dude hits Ricky, and it leads to later a canoe scene where the other girls and those guys from the fucking softball, they're going down. They're like, oh, let's go for a canoe ride. So yeah, what's the name of the guy that takes that gets killed next? Do you know Peter? Is it Peter? No, Peter's
might be
the kid with the bandana.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I got the kills right here. Shit. Kenny. And Kenny, by the way, is actually the Situation from Jersey Shore's brother. If you didn't know that.
No shit, huh?
Yep. I got some cool facts. I found a lot of shit on this movie. But anyway, he takes this girl out. He flips the canoe. She gets all pissed off. He keeps saying, "Oh, look out for the snakes and turtles and shit." And so she swims away, and then another person pops up. All you see is the back of the head. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" Then all of a sudden, she pulls his head down and she drowns him. And I don't know if you want to describe when they find him, Doug, because I feel like I'm talking a lot right now.
So yeah, the next morning, I don't even know who the other guy is. It's not the main Jack dude. It's like another like counselor. He comes down and he's wigging out because there's like chairs in the water and shit everywhere. And he's like, "The hell's this doing over here?" And he goes over and flips over the canoe. And it kind of reminded me of like Halloween 3 with like the melted pumpkin and like this like the snake coming out of the kid's eye.
Mm-hmm.
But the makeup on that one was actually pretty good. Like that's the thing with this movie that I've noticed. Like some scenes are really good, but then some scenes it's like they use raspberries as like sting wounds,
I just got to point out here, man, this movie couldn't be any closer to Friday the 13th.
You think it's that similar, huh?
Oh my God.
I think it's relatively similar.
The camp, the kids, the boat,
water, air
scenes. Yeah, I mean, it's
and then especially like the first one, Kevin. It's all the kills are in first person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not all the kills, but a few of the kills are in first person. So it's
exactly.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
And they're both
very. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they're both very similar, whereas they kind of have this, surprise ending that nobody really saw coming. You know what I mean? Which the other ones after that, it's like exactly what's going on, blah blah blah. But like these, Friday the 13th, the first one, and then this first Sleepaway Camp, they just have that surprise factor.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And what I did love about that scene, though, when they find him, is the snake pops out of him when he's literally giving the girl shit that she's going to get attacked by snakes.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty cool. Like I love how they connected that and they did that. I think whoever thought to do that, hey man, that was great. I love that scene too. And then we go on pooping bee death. Which is led to by a water balloon hitting Angela, and then the counselor telling her, "Oh, go change before you catch pneumonia." One water balloon. I don't think that's going to cause pneumonia, especially when it's supposed to be summer. But whatever.
Yeah.
Can we just point out the camp counselor, the 70s looking juice head?
Yeah, the beefy guy.
Yeah. Mike.
Awful actor, terrible acting, and he's even in. I think they even brought him back for like the remake that they just did, or the sequel they made.
No, he was in the 2008. I don't say reboot, but it's kind of a reboot, but not. But yeah, he was in that one, the one with Felissa.
Still bad acting.
I mean, he was hired based on his appearance and his ability to wear short shorts.
Yeah, dude. He had hard camel tail going on, like.
And then that opening boat. Going back to that opening boat scene where it kills Angela's father, right? Like when they're switching to drive, how the girl and the boy switch, and that's how the accident happens because she's just bitching and not paying attention. Mm-hmm. You definitely see testicle right there. There is some testicle. That dude's short shorts are ridiculous.
Who the dad on the boat?
No. The dudes who run him over, the girl and the boy.
The kid in the boat, the creepy ginger.
Yes.
Okay, I did not notice. I was looking at her, not him, but that's cool.
Marco, we're glad you took the time to investigate that.
It was not easy to miss.
All right, I'll have to. Oh, dude, it's so funny though. I'm actually watching the background. The water balloon scene just popped on.
There you go. And you're about to see pooping bee death. Why don't you take us into that one, Douglas?
All right. So, after the pneumonia water balloon incident, I forget his name too, but he goes in. He's like, "I'll meet you down there. I'm gonna take a shit." Do you know his name?
It's Billy.
Billy.
I got them all right here. Billy.
I got the deaths. I just didn't do the names. I kind of got lazy with the names on this one. But
hold on real quick. I'm on a page where it actually says every death and name and who it is and how they were killed. So I got them all.
All right then. Cool. So he goes into the stall to take a shit, as he says, and you just see like a broomstick kind of go between the handles of the two stalls. So he's kind of locked in there. I mean, but then he's a young, beefy guy. He could have easily knocked it down, which he does eventually. But but then all of a sudden you see a knife come and cut the screen, and you see a beehive kind of get like lowered in and kind of dropped. You just hear the bees buzzing around, and he ends up breaking out. And then so this is the raspberry scene I was talking about. Like the death scene right before this was so good makeup wise. And this one here, like I'm pretty sure you can see like raspberries on his arms as like wounds, like multiple wounds.
That made me hungry.
Yeah. And then, speaking of hungry, I guess that is like the last scene before they pan away. It's like him laying down, face down, and like the side of his face is just like completely covered with bees. And I guess they use some kind of like nectar or whatever the hell bees like, and cover like a dummy's face to get like that scene with all the bees, which I thought was kind of cool. The practical effects. Awesome, yeah, there's no CGI in this, obviously,
No,
and like
it's pre-CGI.
Yeah, so like in like the boiling water scene, like the reason why he's laying on the floor like that, there's actually a guy underneath, kind of like pumping saline to like get the blisters to like look like they're pulsating, like you were talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great job, man. I thought that was my favorite. Like we said already, it's the most justified death in this movie.
Yeah, and right out of the
so well done.
Right out of the gate too.
But then, yeah, man. And then I'm just gonna run quickly through the story. I don't have everything written down, but Paul, this dude Paul, it takes a liking to Angela, and they already talked. She actually she didn't speak for the first 30 minutes of the movie, but she spoke to him and said goodnight, and then she starts speaking after that. But he ends up kissing with Angela on the ground, and Angela's like no, and then it goes into this weird memory sequence of the two gay fathers.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's two dudes like laying in a bed, and then it's like her and her brother, and they're fucking pointing at each other. It was just kind of weird. Like, it just was odd.
Was there a point to that scene?
No, that's why I'm bringing it up. I just didn't really understand it. Like, I understand the stuff with the aunt, because the aunt, later on we come to find out that the aunt wanted a girl or whatever. Like, we're not doing this in order, so we can kind of skip around on that shit, but it was just odd to me. I just didn't understand the relevance of showing, like, were they trying to be like before their time with putting like a couple gay dudes on screen, or like I don't know. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, like I could understand the flashback, being she has trauma and she's reliving this, and that's what's fueling maybe her, the killings and stuff. But yeah, like the gay dads, yeah, maybe they're just trying to be like edgy and ahead of their time. That wasn't a super common thing.
Which this movie was trying to be shock value. So I don't think it was they knew that they were not reinventing the wheel with the gore kills. Obviously, I mean they really couldn't master what was done in Friday the 13th and all of the practical effects that were done by the legendary oh my god, I can't remember his name. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on him. How the fuck could I? Tom Savini. So, I think they knew, okay, we got to up the game, and they not only went for gore, but they also went for shock value, which was let's throw everything uncomfortable in society at the audience and see how they react to it. Pedophiles, cringe. Homosexuality, cringe. Child on child pornography, cringe. I mean, they did everything possible to make you uncomfortable. So it wasn't just the kills, it was the discomfort of the scenes that we got out of this, which we obviously all remember it. I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, I can see that. I actually, that's a pretty good spot on,
I mean, and later on...
Go ahead, Doug.
later on, you got Mel and Meg, who she gets the night off from being a chaperone or whatever, and she goes up to Mel, the old guy. He's old as dirt. And she's like, "Oh, we still on for that dinner," and he's supposed to go to her house. I mean, she's supposed to go to his house, and that's like another like super cringe moment,
Well, in the grand finale, of course, another cringe moment in that time. Again, if you watch,
we'll get to that.
If you watch this movie now, nothing would surprise you. You'd be like, okay, yeah, well, that's cool, that's innovative, that's it, and that's what we're doing, right? We can sit, but in that moment, put yourself in '83, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like all of this stuff, it's just not the reality of 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's it, man. I mean, so.
Yeah. So the next murder is I'll do the setup for it. Judy and Meg, they're messing with Angela again, and they're like, "Oh, go in the water, go swimming," and all this shit. So they pick her up, and they're gonna throw her in the water. Meg picks her up, and at the same time as that's going on, Ricky is getting yelled at by Mel for killing everybody. Mel's accusing him basically of causing the deaths and stuff. Because he had some moments in this movie where he was fighting people. He was always yelling at people, calling people pussies, cocksuckers, all this shit. And so he sees them while he's getting yelled at, bringing her to the water, carrying her. And so he tries to run off, but Mel grabs him and holds him there. And they end up throwing him in the water. And, and then Ricky promises they won't get away with it. That's when you see Ricky say some shit. So you can see why the guy thinks it might be Ricky. But, and then Meg, this leads to the shower scene where Meg wants to take a shower. There's people in line. She's going for that date with old-ass Mel, like Doug was talking about. So she goes next door to take a shower. And what happens, Doug?
So she's just rocking out to some tunes, taking a shower, and all of a sudden you see this creepy dude-ish hand basically stab through the back of the shower and just stab her in the back and run the knife all the way down, basically from her neck to her ass. Just guts her like a fish.
Mm-hmm.
And
which I thought was actually pretty well done.
I thought so too, because that's kind of a tough one too. How do you? I don't know. There's certain angles, especially like we're saying, no CGI, no, that's half the fun. Especially like when she's like, you see her dead after. Like the makeup's really good with her when you see her after.
Mm-hmm. I just want to know, like, what's that wall made out of that she stabbed her through? That like you got a knife through that easy, and you can like drag it down and it rolls fine.
It's super thin. It's what they use for like bath liners and shit. It's just almost like a fiberglass with like on the backside it'd probably be rough, and the front would be like smooth, but super thin. So that's actually quite. Yeah, that'd be plausible.
Girl can hack it.
I think so. Well, girl.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, but then again, ripping through a body from neck to spine is challenging anyway. Never mind, through a wall. But I think it's plausible.
Tell us about your experience.
Well, it was one time in college.
When was the first time, Doug? It wasn't the last time, was it?
Oh, so one quick thing I want to get back to too. Probably one of the more famous quotes in the movie is when it's that scene where Judy's yelling at Angela for, staring. What are you looking at? What are you taking a picture? And then, she says, she's a carpenter's dream. She's flat as a board, needs a good screw. I always thought that one always cracked me up. That was on my notes to the last page, so.
Oh, that's fine. I was going to write that down, but I figured you'd catch that one. I didn't write too much. I just did like a little bit of homework on this. I just wanted to get through the deaths for the most part while telling a little bit of why they happened.
Oh, dude. And then I would say one of the most awkward deaths is coming up. I think it's chronologically next, which is the curling iron in the old crotcherino.
No, not yet.
No?
Not yet.
Is there death before that?
There is. It's the young campers that with the hatchet. It doesn't actually show it, but the guy finds the bodies, remember?
Oh, you're right. Yes.
It says death 7 through 10 young campers, and they got hatcheted for throwing sand on Angela which seems like a very, again, minuscule reason, shitty reason to kill people. Especially they were kids too. Those were like the young kids, like 7, 8, 9-year-olds or whatever they were, 10 maybe. Because they were the ones who were crying that they were cold and they didn't want to camp anymore. So he was going to bring them back, and then she hatcheted them, a bunch of them.
Oh, you're right. You just see like a pile of like red and down feathers everywhere.
Right, yeah. It doesn't show it, but it does show like her spot the hatchet, and then and then it kind of cuts away, and then the guy finds the bodies, and so yeah, man, I thought that one kind of sucked. That was just like that was disappointing. I didn't realize even what happened until I read this after, and I'm sorry for moving, but I got to grab a beer.
It's almost like they were trying to just drive up the kill count, just by like, all right, 2 more and they're young ones. That counts as 4, really. Michael Myers world.
Well, Marco's grabbing a beer and talking to himself. I'm going to let everyone know here that the movie was called something different in other countries or was promoted differently. So it was known as Nightmare Vacation, Summer Camp Inferno in Japan.
Summer Camp Inferno.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nightmare Vacation, Summer Camp Inferno in Japan. That was it's a pretty long title. Sinister Camp in Brazil. Summer Camp Massacre in France. Angel of Death in Hungary.
Wow.
Bloody Summer in Germany. No relation to My Bloody Valentine.
Huh?
So, I mean, they must have had to change the name for legal reasons, in these countries, or maybe they were just trying to promote it differently. I mean, we've all seen movie posters with different titles and like artists calling the albums different names in different countries and stuff like that. So it's interesting.
I really wonder why such a difference, in so many different countries too.
I want to see those posters too. That'd be cool to track them down. I don't know if we're on the same site, but I was actually going to bring that up, Kevin, and it does say that. If anybody can track them down, send them to me or whatever. It's a site called Terror Threads I'm getting that from, so shout out to them.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's where I'm getting my source too. So we're looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
5 fun facts from Sleepaway Camp.
That's right. That's the one.
By the way, the poster,
Doug,
that poster's sick too. Do they have? It's great. Yeah,
man, it is cool. I love it, man. I think it is a great poster, dude. I'd love to get that one like like we do from the poster company you get from that had like the really nice ones.
Yep.
That'd be sweet. They remade that.
Is it like the American version with like the sneaker and the knife?
No.
No.
I love that cover.
This is a drawing, and it looks like it was a poster that was folded like inside of a vinyl album, and it's just got blood coming out of all the tents, and it just says Sleepaway Camp with blood dripping from the logo, and it's 2 trees, and it's got different characters drawn screaming, basically like kill scenes.
Nice. All right, that's Terror Threads?
Yeah,
cool.
I'm gonna send you a picture of it now, Doug, just for the hell of it.
All right, I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, I want you to get into Judy's scene now, but I want to preface it with the original Judy was actually supposed to be played by Jane Krakowski. I think that's how you say her name. And if anybody knows who Jane Krakowski was, she was the blonde in 30 Rock. She was also in Ally McBeal.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. I guess she was originally cast. I can't find why she didn't actually do the role. But Judy, through this whole movie, was a bitch. And I could not stand her, and I wanted her to die the whole time. And Doug, how did she die? You started getting into that, and it's the weirdest death, too, because where did that curling iron end up? Yo, set it up, buddy.
So they're smooching, I think, right? I think she's smooching with a guy. You heard me. So they're smooching, getting hot and heavy, and he's afraid he's going to get in trouble? Or am I getting the... Is that true, Marco?
Well, yeah, because Mel walks in looking for Meg because he's supposed to bang the young'un, and so he hides under the bed. So when he gets up out of the bed, he's like, "I gotta go," and she's like, "Oh, he's not coming back," and he's like, "You don't know that," and then she gets all mad and calls him an asshole or whatever, and he walks away.
All right,
And then
that's
it
right.
leads to the kill scene.
Then she hugs her pillow, pouting, and then so this is one of the most creative deaths, and I don't know how you'd even die, but wouldn't be nice. But anyway, so you don't see it obviously, but you see like the hand on the curling iron, and the worst part is she like pushes the little lever down too, like flexes it too. You know what I mean? Before you
so
see it go down
see it
and
separate.
yeah. So you assume it's going in the old hoo-ha, either the hoo-ha or the JJ, one or the other. I would imagine the JJ because
I think that's the same thing, isn't it?
Hoo-ha. Yeah, the hoo-ha could be an ass though. The hoop.
No, that's the balloon knot.
All right, so I think it might have been vaginal.
But she separated. Do you think it could have been both?
Oh, like the one in the pink doing the stink with the curling iron?
How does one even die from that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it fucking really hurt and it'd probably fuck you up for life, but, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. It confused me. I was very thrown by that death. And, I was wondering the same thing. I would think there would just be very severe burns, maybe lots of pain. But yeah, I would think he would survive it. So maybe something happened after the fact. I don't know. But she's counted as a kill.
Maybe she stabbed her with the knife simultaneously or something.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it. She was suffocated with the pillow at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she was suffocated, and then but for extra she got a curling iron in her private areas.
It's like a bad snuff film. Like, choke me out while you're fucking me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting scene for sure. And it's one of those scenes like nowadays they would show in complete detail just because that's what everyone goes for pure gore now. And that's I don't know, I like I've always said, like all the movies we've done, I like the ones where like what's going on, what's happening, but you're not seeing it. It's leaving like my main imagination is more fucked up than anything I could see on screen. They just kind of do that because people nowadays, they don't have that kind of imagination. They need to see it. They need to see that visceral gore. See what I did there?
That's right. And in the kill count I have, it describes Judy as can't bitch, kiss Paul. So there you go. So to set up the next murder, since we're just going down the line, is Mel, when he came in with Judy pre-iron death, curling iron death, he asked her where Meg was. She told him she was taking a shower. He finds Meg. And what I think is funny is when he walks in to the bathroom and her body just happens to fall out when he walks in. Just happens to. He doesn't open the curtain to find her. It just falls out.
Mm-hmm.
Right through the curtain. So coincidental, which I love. But anyway, he vows that he's going to stop Ricky because he still feels it's Ricky. So he ends up finding Ricky, and he beats him fucking half to death. And so when he walks out into the open, and then again, this is kind of like a Friday the 13th scene with the arrow. There's an arrow scene in either part 2 or part 3. Which I think predate this movie. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it predates the movie. And it's kind of the same death. I don't know if you guys can remember the Friday the 13th death I'm talking about when they turn off all the lights with the fucking target range for bow and arrows. But anyway, he walks
vaguely.
out and he looks at somebody and he's like, it can't be you. And then he gets shot with an arrow through the throat. So there goes old Mel.
Which
he was a piece of shit too.
That scene was pretty realistic too, because you see it. You see him from the front. You see the arrow go, and kind of like you see it go in and stick out the back. There's no. Whoa. That must have been kind of a tough scene to do too.
Well, you got loud.
Oh, did I?
I don't know. Kevin, did you notice that?
Doug's always loud. I don't know.
Yeah.
In person, I get yelled at for being.
I got to turn you down here, buddy.
In person, I get yelled at for being too quiet.
No, but your headphones, for some reason, when we do it like this, you're always super loud. It's crazy. But anyway, continue with your point.
I was just saying, I thought that was a pretty good, clean death as far as like visual effects. Because like I said, it goes in the front and sticks out the back, and it's like, fuck, like there's no smoke and mirrors, you know. It's not dark. It's like, I just thought that was a good kill.
Yeah, man, it was just the most simplistic kill. There was no like, you know, chicanery. There was no curling irons. There was no knife to open a fucking screen to let bees in. It was very easy, you know, and that's what I found good about it. And leading kind of the end, let's just get down to the end and then talk about what we thought about this shit. But yeah, Paul, who is Angela's love interest, she also caught in the movie, we didn't mention, but kissing Judy and whatever. But she forgave him at that time. He goes and he apologizes again or whatever. I can't remember exactly what they said, but she tells him to meet him on the waterfront. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they find Ricky. The counselor finds Ricky, nearly beaten to death. They hear a scream. They run over, and now the cops are there at that point. The mustached cop. They find Meg, and then it shows the beefy dude and the other counselor or whatever, the female counselor. I can't remember who she is, but they hear some humming. So it goes down. You want to describe it, Doug? Because you love this scene. You always send me pictures of it.
That's fucked up. So yeah, you hear like it's almost like a humming or like a singing coming from like the dark beach, you know, on the shallow shore, and they kind of walk down, and then I'm a little foggy because I just can't see like her green screaming face after. But so they go to see if she ends up, basically they call her name, and she ends up turning around with Paul's head, and she's bare ass for some reason. And she's hanging dong. And we find out that Angela's a fucking boy. And the whole movie kind of starts to like, oh, okay, that explains the weird, like the third. So it's funny, the first person scenes with like the hands, those are actually Ricky's hands in most of the scenes because like she was so young, her parents didn't want her to be involved in some like the murder scenes. So that's why like you see like a masculine veiny hand when she's supposed to be like a 13-year-old girl, you know?
Yeah, but like even that scene where they kill Judy with the curling iron, remember it shows her in the doorway? It looks like Ricky to me in the doorway.
Yeah, there was a scene where Ricky actually had to wear a wig.
Yeah.
Where it could be like third person. I mean, first person. But like, yeah, so he put on a wig and did a couple of the scenes, I believe. But yeah, so
go ahead.
I was gonna say like one of the final cringe scenes, you know. So if you count it, there's gonna be like 4 or 5 different pretty cringy, like risque kind of themes and scenes throughout the movie.
But before that, I just want to talk about like when they do find her, before like she hangs dong and all that stuff. She's petting Paul's head, and it goes to a memory. And it's the boy from the accident at the beginning. He's bandaged, and it's the aunt again, the crazy aunt saying, "Oh, I've always wanted a little girl. I already have a little boy." So she dresses her up, and then she's like, "Oh, Angela. I like the name Angela. It's like you're an angel or whatever," she says, and which is pretty crazy shit. And the aunt again is over the top, and then like you said, she gets up and she's got that crazy face.
Perfect, man.
And her mouth is just wide open.
She did a great job with that.
So obviously that wasn't her or Ricky. I guess the story behind that is they paid some young college kid to do it, and he had to get like absolutely hammered before it. So it's just some random college kid that got bare ass. I mean, you see it, but you don't, you know. But it's still hanging dong for sure.
Twigs and berries.
Twigs and berries. So yeah, and that's why like a lot of people. It's funny how they're like. So this got a 6.3 on IMDb, and there was a lot of great reviews, but then there was those like 1s, 2, scores where people like, oh, the shock ending can't save this one. The acting was so bad, and it's like you can't look at one little thing and pick it apart. It's like this whole movie's kind of like a package deal, you know. So
yeah,
I mean. I figured I think 6.3 is appropriate. I would have thought a little bit higher, but
I I didn't like this when I first saw it. Like the first time I watched it, I probably wasn't watching it all the way through, but I'm like, oh man, this is just like cheesy camp horror, just a Friday ripoff. And then I watched. I'm like, all right. One day I sat. I'm like, This is a cult classic. I'm gonna watch this thing all the way through and analyze it and really figure out why people love this movie. And now I love the movie. I mean, I think it's a great movie. I think it's not underrated because it has a cult following, and like even Felissa still to this day has like tons of people reaching out to her about that movie. So generations have gone by, you know. So I think it's a great movie. I personally actually enjoy this better than Friday the 13th, the original in some ways. And I know that one's a cult classic too, but I really like all of the uncomfortable 1980s social issues that they threw into this, and they didn't do what you do today where they like fucking make sure they throw it in your face, and if you don't see it, they make you see it by throwing in one-liners that make you have to see it. Like at the end, you know, today's standards, they would have at the end shown Felissa Rose as a dude and been like, oh my God, look at that trans with the axe. Like they have to actually identify it because we're not smart enough anymore to just say, wow, look at that. Like that's so shocking for the time. So that's what I like about it is you have to actually psychoanalyze it yourself without it being fed to you. And so it's in my opinion fucking way better than Friday the 13th. Like I know a lot of people will be like, no way. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of Jason fans out there, but if you're gonna go off of the original movie, I mean, in the content, this one has way more involved in it. Like I've already said.
Dude, I 100% agree. I agree.
I don't, but I think Friday the 13th is a better movie. But this is a good movie. I enjoyed both. But the original Friday the 13th is off the hook, man, with the mother and shit, and that shit's crazy. It's good. And it's a fucking awesome revenge movie. And this is not so much a revenge movie. It's like whoever picks on her gets killed. You know, I don't think she goes there in the intent of killing people. I just don't think so. It's just everybody who fucks with either Ricky or her get killed. And that's that. But I want one more fun fact I have. I think this might be the last one I have. But so Sleepaway Camp and Friday the 13th Part 3 inspired Weird Al Yankovic's song Nature Trail to Hell.
Which album was that on?
Don't know, but it's got to be one of the early 80s ones, probably mid-80s or whatever.
Dude, that's a riot.
Yeah. I thought that was a funny one. But
did we bring up earlier, I don't remember if you said it, Marco, about the canoe flip scene? Fun fact about the canoe flip scene. Again, this is from this is just citing the source, Terror Threads. Fun fact number 3 from this site says that during the canoe flipping scene, Kenny lost a pretty large piece of his hand when it collided with a sharp rock at the bottom of the lake. And this is a quote from the actor John Dunn. He said, after I was split open my hand, I was rushed to some hospital in the middle of nowhere, and they had no idea what to do with me.
Dude, yeah.
Probably the worst, real, brutal, horrific scene.
Because they were in the middle of nowhere too, so that's gonna be terrifying. You know, we live in the Boston-ish area now, Kevin. You're in New Hampshire, but like we have great hospitals all around us. You know, imagine being East Bombing, like something like that happening. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and the cast is like, what do we do?
So is Ass Cheek onto it. So I have a few fun facts left. So this was shot in early fall, but it's set in obviously midsummer. So a lot of the trees and grass had to be painted to kind of blend it in. You can see at the very beginning, very beginning, before the boat scene, there's like this kind of really cool like opening scene where it's just like very fall. And it's just kind of panning through the camp, and you can tell it's definitely fall. And I just thought that was kind of funny that it reminded me of like, you know, when they filmed Halloween, they'd use gourds because, you know, they couldn't get pumpkins and they had to like bring in leaves and shit, you know, some of the shit they do but you wouldn't know if you don't know, you know? And also, Marco, I just watched a second ago the curling iron scene did happen before the campers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
just because I had it written in my notes, so I just don't know. I just thought I'd bring that up.
I just went by the order of what was said, and I just want to make a quick correction before you go on, Doug. It was actually young Peter / Angela that was played by the Situation's brother. I made a mistake. I thought it was the kid with the bandana or whatever, the headband, but I was wrong. It's actually the little Peter in the flashback scenes.
Oh, okay. Little Peter.
Little Angela Peter, whatever. Yeah.
Hey guys, are you calling in from your apps tonight? The Podbean app.
Yes.
Yes.
If you look at the chat room, can you guys see I added the background as the poster from Sleepaway Camp?
The background of.
You guys don't see it?
No. Let me go back. Oh no, I can't exit.
Well, Podbean, you guys fucked that up. Yeah, it's I was just changing the settings, and it's supposed to work on the app. So I guess that's a fail.
Yeah, it might work. You might just have to go back out and go back in, refresh it. But I can't figure out a way to do it without hanging up. So.
So Kevin, you're a big fan of Joe Bob Briggs, right?
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen The Last Dine-In where Felissa Rose is there as the quote mangled dick expert?
Yes.
Have you seen that one? Like, have you actually seen it?
Yeah, that's actually so that's where I watched Sleepaway Camp again, and obviously, yeah, you can get all the fun facts and stuff from Joe Bob.
Oh, okay, all right. I'll have to watch that.
Dude, watch it. Yeah, it's great. I mean, and she's great. Again, she's great. You know, she just sounds like she's so fun.
Dude, I want to. I kind of think
she's great.
She might be one of my favorite scream queens, just because she's done. After this, she was so young when this came out, and then she just pretty much did pure horror for the next 35 years. You know what I mean? Like you said, she's fun. She's like not super up her ass. You know, she's not douchey about it. You know, she's not arrogant. You know, she seems approachable.
Yeah, she was on the I think it's Adam Green. I could be wrong, but the dude who did the Crowley movies, and he does this like this stupid like 5-minute thing with, it's called like Sleepovers with Adam Green or something, and he has some actors over and they chat and stuff, and they're just like super down to earth and chill. And she was one of them, and she's great on that too. So that's why I wish we could get her on.
Well, dude, maybe we can do like we were saying before, like after the cast, you know, like a little follow up, you know, because don't forget, you know, she was in another one of the, you know, she wasn't in number 2, she wasn't number 3, but she was in that 2008 remake, the Return to Sleepaway Camp.
That's right. Maybe we'll get Felissa on. All right, Katrina, since I know you're listening, you just don't want to be on, but I know you're listening. All right, you
Marco,
don't want to be on.
Marco, you want to share with the rest of the room?
Yeah, no. I was just going through IMDb, and I ran into the mangled dick expert, and it made me laugh.
Dude, I did the same thing. I'm like,
Marco, did we not get Katrina because you sent her a dick pic on Instagram or something?
I did not. But hey, but it really does say it. I thought Doug was fucking around, but it says Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs TV series. She's on it as the mangled dick expert,
and she's doing the iconic face too, which I think is awesome.
I didn't see that. I'm just seeing it on IMDb. It's fucking hilarious, man. Holy shit,
dude! Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that now.
My damn mind.
So. One last thing, Mike Kellen, who played the old creepy Mel, he died of lung cancer 3 months before this was released. So that kind of, I'm sure he was a good actor too. You know, he was in a ton of shit. I know he's a scumbag in this, but like in real life, I guess he was a good guy. So like American Jim Varney, you know, gone from lung cancer way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
God, please no, Ernest. No,
we rediscovered his death today.
Yeah.
Ernest free in 2021, please. Ernest free.
So, Kev, I have a question for you. Since you're a humongous American Horror Story 1984 fan, did you see any nods or, oh my God, the face scene just popped up on the TV. Did you see any nods or Easter eggs from Sleepaway Camp?
That
you remember?
I can't remember at this point, but I mean, it would make sense because of where it takes place. I mean, that whole show is basically revolved around Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, I'm like 3 episodes deep, and I haven't really seen much, but there's so much going on.
It's awesome. We've watched it 3 times. I mean, mostly because of just the time period, the cheese. It's a good storyline, and it'll deviate even further from the storyline that's going on. Because it gets into a lot of stuff between serial killer and paranormal, and I mean that's what I love about it. There's so much shit. You're like, what the fuck? But it's got great music. I mean, again, just the '80s are awesome. So, but I can't think of anything specific. I could probably make something up, and you could make it relative to that. So
that's true. I don't know if there was anything just kind of jumped out at you, but all right. One more question for the both of you. I know we were talking about this earlier, and it would be completely different in this day and age. But how would you guys feel about like a remake with this story?
No,
you think it would just kind of ruin it completely?
No.
Yeah, I'm against it too. I just don't think it needs to be remade. I think it's perfect the way it is.
The craft, the legacy. That's it. Mic drop. Oh, Black Christmas. Mic drop.
My Bloody Valentine. Mic drop.
Yeah, but even okay. but
I'm just kidding.
No. But you're not wrong. I mean, you couldn't even Supernatural couldn't fucking save that. But it doesn't. But I mean, with the social issues tied to it, you could not do that today. It just wouldn't. It would, like I said, it would be so in your face woke culture bullshit. You'd be like, oh my god, I just want to watch the movie and fucking figure it out for myself.
Yeah,
I don't need you to throw shit in my fucking face.
Does that kind of bum you out though?
Yeah, man. I think it would be completely different, like Kevin was saying. But there are Evil Dead, man, great remake. There are some good remakes out there, but the majority of them suck balls. And I don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it remade. I think it's good the way it was. It belongs in that early 80s, or just 80s in general, like campy horror. That's what it is, man, and that's what it should be. It should be anything else.
It'll be done, and it's going to be Jordan Peele.
Probably,
dude.
I wouldn't doubt it.
All right, I feel the same exact way. I figured you guys would too, but I figured it would be interesting to bring up just because it's such a weird, fucked up PC world.
Yeah, no, it would be a hard no.
Yeah, I'm pretty anti-remake. I mean, I hated the Nightmare on Elm Street. I actually didn't mind the Friday the 13th remake. I thought that was actually pretty good. But for the most part, man, yeah, like 90% of them are fucking terrible.
Speaking of Nightmare, I keep hearing rumors of them trying to get one more with Robert Englund in before. He wants to do one more. He's like, I can do it. So who knows?
I'm sure he'd do as many as he can.
Yeah, who knows? But that would be great.
It'd be cool, man. You just got to get a really good writer behind it. Obviously Wes Craven's gone. And I know he didn't do the majority. He only did what? He did one, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and I don't even know if he did 3, but I know he had a hand in it. Yeah,
that's it. He the only ones he really touched were the first, and then his Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
But he had a hand in 3, though. I think he was like a producer, so he had some say in it or some shit.
Something, yeah.
And like 2 of those 3 are like probably my 2 favorites. So you know what I mean? I don't want to do too many spoilers on that one because we got a show in a few months from now about that shit. But
yeah, well,
but
on that note, I mean, I think that's it. We've pretty much covered it. I think we all agree we love the movie. I mean, it's a recommend if you haven't seen it. I know a lot of people look at it and they're like, yeah, it can't be shit. Yeah, the acting's not great. But for what it's worth, it's a really, really good movie. I mean, there's a lot going on in it that you just need to watch and figure out for yourself. Pay attention. If you fall asleep through the first 5 minutes of it, then you might as well just fucking turn it off because you're going to miss the entire point of the movie. So
yeah, I'm going to say this. Really it's a fun movie with some uncomfortable moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a time period piece too, you know what I mean?
Like it's Videodrome uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
I love Videodrome. But anyway, yeah, man.
So it did spawn three sequels. Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Camper, Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, and then Return to Sleepaway Camp. And that other one, like I said, never existed. We won't get into those tonight because I actually want to cover those at some point, or at least number 2. Yeah. I feel number 3 was a little bit rushed because they slapped 2 and 3. They filmed it within a 5-week period. So I feel like number 2 had all the quality, but number 3 kind of, it was a teeny bit rushed. And then Return to Sleepaway Camp is kind of, it's a good, 2008, it wasn't as PC back then, and it's not as cringy as the original, but it's definitely worth a watch too. And she's in it, and your camel tail boy there, Mike, the counselor, is in it, Kev.
Oh yeah.
So, and then there are a few things that mean. All right, so in Sleepaway Camp 2, there is, and I don't know why, but me and Mark always talk about this. In one of the bunks, in one of the cabins, on the back wall, there's Death Angels, the Ultraviolence on vinyl, like hanging on the wall, and then an end scene that's just Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday for the Deceiver, just like on the couch at the last scene for some reason. And I don't know what the metal connection is. But it's awesome. I'm like, that is the best thing I've ever seen. I don't know why.
Yeah.
All right.
Kevin's playing with sound effects. But all right, guys. I think we've said all we got to say. This has been a fun one, man. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah. One. Yep. We're glad we covered this one. Just want to thank everybody for listening, tuning in. We're sorry that we were a month behind, but we're going to get back on track. We want to just ask you if you can go on iTunes and give us a 5-star review. It helps push us to the top, helps get us out there. We want to thank all of our fans in Ireland and all of the other countries that have been listening. We really, really appreciate the support. So thank you very much for your support. This is Kev.
Marco.
And Angela.
Have a great night, guys. Thank you very much.
Word to your mother.
Night, guys.